Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Movie Pop. Today we're here to talk about the newest film, Men in Black International. It's sitting at a very shitty 24% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And surprisingly, it's directed by Gary F. Gray, who's been known for some very phenomenal films, some of which are my favorites of all time. There's Friday, The Negotiator, Set It Off, The Italian Job, Straight Outta Compton, and lastly, the biggest box office hit of all time, The Fate of the Furious. It's the 17th highest grossing film of all time. So, provided this pedigree for the director of the film, I had high expectations. I had a very strong vote of confidence into what I would be seeing on film. That was immediately dissuaded by the trailers that released after I found out who the production crew was for this film. Looking at the trailers for the film, my expectations were not very high, unfortunately. And unfortunately, even more so, after reviewing this film, I have to say, it's honestly, my overall impressions, this film is very disappointing. It does not carry the legacy from Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones's iconic trilogy. So with that being said, Lawrence, what were some of your general impressions or expectations for this film, and then of course your impressions after watching?
I was expecting like you said, there's such a long legacy with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. I was expecting them to at least bring it back for good reason, because it's been some time before we've had, ever since we've had like a decent Men in Black movie. So I'm like, all right, looks like they're trying something new. They're really trying to, hit it out of the park. The trailer I didn't like so much, so my expectations weren't super high, but I was like, all right, they'll probably do better than the last ones, because even the last Will Smith one was not that great. It was passable, I guess, but I don't really know what happened. I mean, I didn't find it very funny either. The trailer, they tried to make it seem funny. I didn't think it was very funny. So before we, I guess, spoil too much, why don't we go into some of those pros? Why don't you let me know if there's any at all you can mention? Oh, before we do that, quickly, I just want to say that the audience score is sitting at 71%. Surprisingly, that is definitely, I'm telling you right now, that is definitely going to crash. Yeah. It's probably not going to go like super, because if it starts at 70, it's probably going to stay around there. That's probably going to hit about 60 or something. Yeah. And mind you, the last Men in Black film, Men in Black 3, is at about a solid 70, which I think is probably deserving. This movie does not deserve a 70. It deserves me being very nice, a 60, maybe a 55. Yeah. That's I think the 24, usually I hate the critics scores, but I think a 24 it's almost close to what it should be. That's really how shit it was. Go ahead, let's do these pros.
Yeah, man, let's do these pros, because I've only got two to talk about. And like you said,
me too.
That 24% critic rating, it's pretty much accurate. Pros for this film: cinematography was competent. I could see what was happening on screen. There weren't a lot of quick cuts and pan shots and just faulty editing. It was well lit. It looked like a Hollywood production. So yes, they met the standard there. And then another pro was that it wasn't a complete burning bag of hot shit that I stepped on and is seeping between my toes and being absorbed between the calluses and all that shit. So it wasn't a complete crap fest.
Jeez, that might as well be a con. Holy shit. No, but I totally understand. I mean, DJ he's not bullshitting you guys. It was pretty bad. Some of my pros, I thought, so there's one scene in the movie where they use some weapons. I thought that was cool because it's a whole array of weapons. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. The CGI is nice. It's not cheap. It's not like 90s CGI. I thought they stepped their game up, but it's for a single scene. They don't use weapons. They use it in one scene, and it's in the middle of the movie. Nothing really happens.
Is that the trailer? The scene that they show in the trailer?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So in the old MIBs, he uses a whole array of weapons that are interesting, and they act differently. He's got the noisy crickets, and then he's got the big gun at the end. It's awesome. Here they use two weapons maybe, and it's not even. Most of the movie they just show the weapons. They don't even use them. So it's a pro that kind of crash lands like most of the movie. The CGI I thought was it's what you see in any other movie. It's passable. It's not super awful. A movie like this needs CGI, so I'm glad it passed. You know, the aliens, they look the way you expect them to look in any other MIB movie. You know, the weapons, anything that's all CGI looked reasonable. It wasn't like, oh my God, that's totally out of place.
Yeah.
Actually, the little Pawnee little guy, he's actually CGI'd pretty well. I don't remember the name of the actor, but he's a very famous.
Kumail Nanjiani.
There you go. Yeah, he's very famous now. He's getting a lot of buzz. So let's go right into the cons.
Cool.
I'll let you take this one first. We got a lot to say here.
And actually, you know, let me preface this by saying, now that you mention it, yeah, the little tiny alien guy, Pawnee, played by Kumail Nanjiani, was my favorite part of the film, bar none.
I think he's the most memorable part of the film.
Exactly. Yes. Very memorable, very original, and just so cute. And it could have been funnier, but like it was on the precipice of being funny, but never past that threshold of really invoking like a laugh out of me.
And mind you, he's like a supporting character, and he was the only enjoyable real part of the film. So I mean, that's a problem. That's a problem in a film like this.
Exactly.
So yeah, go ahead, take it away.
So cons on this film, the story, run by the numbers story, and God, I was hoping and praying towards the end of this film when we have the revelation of what the sinister plot is, you know, I'm just like hoping and praying, like, please don't be that. Please don't be that. Don't be that. And as it turns out, lo and behold, oh, this person is responsible for all the issues we've been seeing. I'm like, no. So unoriginal. So disappointingly unoriginal. And I was trying with all my might to give it, you know, the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe they're not going to go that direction up until the last moment. And they did.
Super predictable.
The story, the concepts, the execution, it did nothing to expand the Men in Black universe. I was hoping for some more world building because this is Men in Black International, so we get some new characters.
Me too.
Yeah, some more backstory, something to add to the narrative thread of this film series that's been with us now for almost 20 years. It did nothing to do that. I felt like in terms of the composition of this film, it looks like it was directed by or produced by the former showrunner, for lack of a better word, Barry Sonnenfeld, who was a director for, I think, all 3 films, if not 2 of them at least. So yeah, those are my cons. It failed on all areas in terms of excellence, and really just kind of was a exactly, as I texted you after I walked out of this movie an hour ago. This was a cash grab. And you said it perfectly, actually, Lawrence. You said, you were hoping that this film had good purpose to be made, because it's been so long since the last one, and that is totally not the case. This is a cash grab.
It's the opposite. I think it hurt the franchise more than it helped it, for sure. Okay, so let me jump right into mine. I had a couple of the same things you did. The story was, I put overly long and boring. I feel like it's such a simple story. It doesn't need to be. I think it was almost a 2-hour film. It doesn't need to be so long when you're not interested in the story at all. I just feel like the longevity of the film adds to how, if it's bad but short, it's not as painfully memorable. But the fact that it just dragged on forever made it that much more bitter. The story, as you said, also is just very flat. You've seen it all before. This is just a standard movie. This is very average. The other movies, what I liked is the story is a lot greater than the Men in Black. It focuses more on like aliens and you know, like these big royal families, these huge, like, you know, it's a lot bigger than just the Earth. I feel like this movie, although it kind of has that, it doesn't show you anything like that. There's no friendly aliens. There's maybe one scene. It's just it totally devoid of that whole alien. They're not on screen is the problem. They're talked about, but you never see them. It's totally just in your head. So it's kind of all about the Men in Black, all the characters on screen, but you don't even like I mean, I like the actors, but the characters are not, you know, they're not interesting. So, and you're following these characters you really don't care about by the end of the film. And it's just a total missed opportunity because it follows stuff you're just not interested in, you know? It's totally departure from what the old MIBs were, where it's about like the universe. and all that stuff. Like it kind of has that, but it's kind of just shoved in there as a, well, it's Men in Black, we got to have that. It's so dumb. Like I'm telling you guys right now, just avoid this film. Don't even, maybe rent it if you can get it for free. Not worth rewatching. Not worth watching.
No.
There's just nothing here, unfortunately. So, DJ, why don't you go ahead and give the painful score that we were about to give to?
Yeah, it's a painful score indeed. So I'm going to give this a 2.5 bags of popcorn out of 5 bags of popcorn, which would be, what was it percentage-wise, 50%?
Yeah, it's about a 50%.
So it basically fails. It stumbles into a rating of 50% just for being competent and not completely failing.
Yeah, I have to give it about the same score. I was even thinking about a 2, but I mean, I don't want to be too brutal. I think a 2.5 is just about where it deserves to be. It falls totally flat I'm sure it's probably gonna kill the MIB franchise. We'll see what happens, but yeah, 2.5 for me, bags of popcorn.
All right, guys. So, hopefully you can neuralize yourself from remembering this movie if you've watched it already. But before you forget your current memories, please make sure to subscribe to us on Instagram at RealMoviePop. Subscribe to us on Instagram at MoviePopOfficial, at Twitter at RealMoviePop, and on Facebook at MoviePopOfficial.
And as always, guys, down below, hit subscribe, hit like, give us some comments, give us some love. As always, helps us so much. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We'll see you again next time.
Thank you, guys.